Hello, and howdy y'all. Welcome to the podcast that drinks and knows things. I'm your host for tonight, which I specifically asked for. I'm Ben. This is our episode, Nice Day for a Red Wedding. We are recording on July 1st, 2018. We're talking, of course, about Season 3, Episode 9, Game of Thrones title, The Reigns of Castamere. With me, as always, is co-host Glenn of House Dog.
Ruff, ruff.
Lucan of House Blackmead.
Take a sip, folks.
And Abby, there's been 2 days since her first watching, so she's coming over off of her hangover that she needed from yesterday. Abby, a.k.a. Gertie of House Condescension. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. All right, boys and girls, what are we drinking tonight?
Looks like we got some Corona Premiers, which are about as light of a light beer as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
They are 90 calories, and it tastes like less.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'm drinking a...
fewer. It tastes like fewer.
I'm drinking a Craftig Light, St. Louis brewed by William K. Bush Brewing Company. It's all right. It's not bad. Yeah. Abby?
Oh, boy. Yeah, this is the emotional fallout we've been waiting for.
So we have some Red's Wicked Ale. I see that can.
Yeah, I have a Duplin wine, Black River Red.
Been a while since we've had the Black River Red. It's just hasn't felt quite right.
This is Hope's End, which is a runaway to the dark side. Red blend.
Cool.
A Wicked Red. And, to even it out, I have an Abby's Amber Ale.
There you go.
Oh, hey, good for you.
Hey, that's like your name.
I also have a Mountain Dew.
Excellent.
Oh.
Trying to balance it out.
Getting crazy over here.
All right, Luke. We made some very good friends over this last week. So
we did. And this is actually a shout out to a friend of the show at Maester Monthly podcast. We met Eliana at Ice and FireCon. This whole season 3, we've kind of been shouting out different podcasters that we met at Ice and FireCon. And Eliana, who is also on Girls Gone Canon, Glass Table Girl, Arithmetric on Twitter. She does also the Maester Monthly podcast with Bookshelf Stud and Joe Magician. Very, very good nerdy podcasts. A lot of thinking, unlike what we do here most of the time. We're here for the drinking. But it's definitely worth checking out. And if you want to go to Ice and FireCon next year, we would love to see you there. Use promo drinks for, I think, $5 off.
$5 off, yeah.
And we'll see you there.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a beer together or something.
We'll let you buy us a beer, and we'll buy you too.
Awesome. So, did we have any news or current Game of Thrones events pop up that we could talk about?
Not really. Nothing. There's like a couple spoiler heavy stuff, so I just didn't really dive into that at all. So
that's all right. So how about Glenn take us to a previous episode recap?
Okay. Arya Hound are twins bound. Dany meets with second sons. Gendry arrives at Dragonstone. Things get a little bit too kinky. Tyrion and Sansa have a little wedding. Sam defeats Timothy Crasterson with a dragon glass dagger.
Nice.
A little wedding.
A little wedding. Yeah, that one took a second.
Timothy Crasterson.
A small wedding.
All right. So, again, we're talking about Season 3, Episode 9. This episode was 50 minutes long. It first aired on June 2nd, 2013. Directed by David Nutter. Written by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Episode description, Abs.
House Frey joins forces with House Tully. Jon faces his most difficult test yet.
Yeah, okay. We'll see if that happens. All right. So we are moving on to our Quill and Puppard.
Quill and Puppard.
Quill and Puppard. I didn't even drink it. Quill and Tankard pub trivia. There we go. Trat, I'm going to throw this out to you. If you're watching live streaming, you can answer. Boys and girls in the studio, no checking chat for the next 10 minutes or 5 minutes. But, so, my question relating to this episode. Walder Frey introduces us to 12 single daughters or granddaughters. Name 4 of them.
Spelling cannot count on these. There's no fucking chance.
If you're
Because he mumbled most of them.
You could have had closed caption on.
He said daughters and granddaughters.
Daughters and granddaughters. See, I'm trying to be fair. Just gotta get 4 out of 12.
Oh no. Wheel drive being crazy.
All right, are we getting close here?
Yeah.
Might already.
All right, we ready to
Alright.
play the music?
Hit the music.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink, and I know things.
All right, so on 3, 2, 1, hit enter. All right, let me take a look here. So we will start with Glenn. He has Sarah, Ariane, and Walda. Luke has Aryer,
R-Wire.
Arwire, okay, Walda, Durwa, Walda, Gain,
Ganea.
Ganea,
Naela. Freya, Marianne, Sarah, and Zara, the twins. You
Yep.
could have had one or either, or both. And Mary,
Mary.
which was the one he called 3 different names.
Yeah.
I left out the youngest ones.
The youngest one. Oh, there was only one other one after.
Yeah,
but
I left a.
you actually
left
have
that
one wrong.
How about that?
Yep. Abby has Waldra, Mary, Poorly, Wortha, and Weldra. Now, the correct... Where did my trivia list go? Over here. So, we have Ariane, Durwa, Waldra, Walda.
He's fucking mumbling all of this
I'm just saying.
without closed captioning.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Hydra.
Gainella, Niella, Sarah, Marianne, Freya, Mary, and Shiree.
And there's Hercules and
So,
Druidia.
Abby, you missed it by 1.
That's all right. I do believe that Mary spelled that way.
You are correct on that.
Because
Yes.
I wanted it with the captions. I was like, oh, we couldn't even use Mary.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
you were
Manuel.
correct on that spelling. Glenn got a point. Luke technically gets a point, but he didn't. Yeah, misspell Marianne.
Okay, I got almost all the other
But
ones.
he got
you
19
can't just
of the 12
name all
you
of them,
asked
just
him
hoping
for.
some stick.
The
You have to
first
name
one is
4.
entire. No, because you have Arye.
You can only name 4 of them.
Ariane.
You fucking listen to it. It sounds like he's saying R-Wire.
Just say
Pick your top 4.
Bart the Bear. That's all I can say.
Let's not get into your semantic fucking questions. That was
You get a,
rebuttal.
you
that was
get a
rebuttal
point
for you.
You get a
You
point.
get a point.
All right, so that puts our season scores to 2 for Glendog, 3 for Ben, 4 for me, and 2 for Abby, going into the final round next week.
All right. So now we got final round coming up. All right, Abby. So we got looks like we have a sigil to give away. Go ahead and draw a number for us.
Okay. Well, number 20,
Ooh,
which is
that's a good
a
one.
sigil Triforce, pink sigil color with a navy badge outline.
Hey.
Trendy.
I know. I
Trendy.
think we did this last time. That's okay. Be sure to tweet us a picture of your winning sticker at knowing.Drink to claim your prize. Tweet us on that Twitter.
So what was the combination one more
Number
time?
20.
Number 20. Triforce. Pink sigil color. Navy badge outline.
All righty.
Excellent. All right, so we are going to move on to the show, to the recap, and we start with the title screen. Did anybody notice something from this title screen? Abby, did you?
No.
Emilia Clarke gets the main the premier title. Oh,
And it's Amelia.
Amelia. What did I say?
Emilia.
Emily. I always say Emilia. It's Amelia.
Who
Yeah.
is-
Essentially,
Who is that?
Daenerys. Danny.
Okay.
Peter Dinklage got knocked down a peg.
Well, yeah. In fairness, he wasn't on the episode, so I was rolling past that. But also with that, we go to King's Landing, Dragonstone, the twins, Winterfell, the Wall, and Yunkai.
Young guy.
Young guy.
All right, we're going to start the episode off on
Asta and
the
young guy.
outskirts of the twins with Kat and Rob. They talk strategies about Casterly Rock.
Whoa!
And Luke just nailed the
Jesus.
desk. Man down. Luke, what's your thoughts on that scene?
I like this scene. I like that Rob was, admitting that he should have been heeding her warnings this whole time. Like he clearly was like, I fucked up a bit. You were right about Theon. You were right about several of these things, and
You're the best and I'm the worst.
you're the best. I'm the worst. I'm scum. You're a goddess.
You're good looking. I'm not attractive.
and he's just leveling with her. It's like, I need you here. I respect your opinion, and good on him, because she has made a lot of right calls that he's either one ignored or went against almost just to prove that he had some individuality, some of his own choices to make that sometimes they were the wrong choices.
Yeah.
Wrong.
No, agreed.
choice.
That's pretty much the same note I have. Finally realizing he doesn't.
I was just reading your note.
doesn't know everything and asks his mom for his advice on the Rock. Yeah, it's as much shit as I've given Catelyn up until now. He's not wrong. She does make good points, especially tactically. She has some good insights. So, Glenn.
Yeah, I think along with your guys' point, I think Rob's just waiting for her to kind of talk him out of it, and she really kind of ends up going along with it. Although the one hidden caveat is if Walder Frey cooperates.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess we're going to see if that, if he cooperates.
If he cooperates,
They get married.
that's a big if.
So I have a couple things on this one. One, who carves these chess pieces, like these intricate little board figures, and
I don't know.
that's really what they travel around during war with. Like, that is of utmost importance to have a ginormous table brought with you
He's a
from place to
king.
place.
He's a king.
I got a couple carvers.
I know. I mean, this is true. We were talking about
Fighting
Ned's
carvers.
Fighting
picnic
carvers.
with Ned and King Robert, and they had chairs and a picnic and all that stuff. But geez, Louise, my next thought is, this seems like a plan for somebody who is like, this is the Hail Mary, I think, is what I used when I was watching it. I don't feel like we have been led to believe they're necessarily losing the war. Like, I feel like this is a last-ditch, throw all your cards in effort when, yes, there's been some mistakes, but mistakes on both sides. This is like, we're losing in my last stand.
Yeah, but
So-
I think it's like, no, they're not losing the war, but like with the Lannister army, they always have like the riches and they could pay for reinforcements, whereas I think the North just them and whatever allies they could pick up.
Yeah, I guess it's like an end-all. Definitely an end-all plan, but
Well, wasn't it 2 episodes ago where he basically just yelled at her saying, "I won every battle, but I'm losing this fucking war." So he knows he's
Yeah.
screwed without.
and we've lost some like confidence within his own men. We've seen that already. So it's just really kind of a scary plan. But she does say, "Hey, take it to him." So
Exactly.
we shall
Yeah,
see.
it's kind of like the Vietnam War, where I don't think the U.S. really lost any battles or anything like that, but they didn't really make a difference. So
It did,
Yeah.
Technically,
There's
they
no,
didn't-
no decision.
Yep.
yeah, they didn't really win.
Yeah.
The pitcher that was taken out in the 4th.
So all right, so it's gonna stay on the outskirts of the twins with the Hound, Arya, and a wagon man. Sandor lends a hand to help fix the wagon and lends a right hook to take it.
So basically, we learn from the scene that 1 hound equals 8 hands. So that's how strong he is.
But how many chickens does that mean? I liked Arya begging him not to kill the pork man. She still shows signs that she has some sort of compassion, regardless of what she's been through. She's like, "No, don't kill him. He didn't do anything." It's still kind of naivety.
And he even kind of calls her out on that. He's like, "That's gonna get you killed. You're kind. That's gonna get you killed." And I don't know. They have definitely some differing opinions on what's right and what's wrong, regardless of being effective. That's kind of something we've discussed here and there on this show. But it's just interesting to see how these two are kind of butting heads. Like, they're both pretty pragmatic. Like, yeah, this is an issue, this guy being here, but like, how drastic do you really need to get?
Exactly.
Right in that scene, like part of it, the man stirs just at the wrong moment, and you can see her being like, "Shit, dude!" Like just smacking him. Like you couldn't have stayed asleep for just a couple more seconds, so I could have really sunk my point in. Like, damn it! But she's awesome. Just picks it up, no care. Like, yeah.
Quiet, you.
Yeah.
So also in
Trying
that
to
scene,
save you.
He calls her out and is like, she's like, you think you're so tough, scaring little girls. And he's like, I'm probably the scariest person you've ever, like the toughest person you've ever met, or whatever he says. And she's basically hearkening back to Jock and Hagar.
Yeah.
Says,
well, that's actually the next scene.
I think that's all the same scene because...
that's when he's sitting there eating the ham. He says, "You're so big and scary."
Well, that part... Okay, so... But the... You sure about that? I don't know. Let's not... All right.
We'll
talk about it.
With your point.
Yeah, either way, she references back to Jack and Hagar without saying his name.
Yeah.
Like, I know somebody that would basically make you, take you out like a lamb to slaughter is what she's getting at.
Oh, no, you're right. Because
it's in that
was
scene.
that him? Is that this guy? No? Well, then, you're right.
Right.
So, yep.
Yep.
So, sorry.
That's cool.
Because going on to the next scene, we'll just kind of tie it all together for the end of Hound and Arya for the most part.
Half of this show is Benji and I just disagreeing on which scene things happen.
Which scene is which.
It's true.
It's becoming a trend. Get it together.
We're about 50-50. All right. Hound and Arya are outside the twins, still looking upon it, and they discuss pork and fears. I'm still annoyed, as we discussed on Friday night. We don't know how she found out about the hounds burning. It's kind of, it's something.
She wasn't at the King's tourney.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's unlikely that Sansa and her would have talked about it in like the 30 seconds they were together.
Let's talk Hound for a minute.
So about the Hound.
You have a second to talk about the Hound?
Our Lord and Savior Hound.
Praise be the chicken.
Praise be the chicken.
I mean, she could have figured it out at Harrenhal when the mountain's there.
Yeah, true.
Like people talking or whatever. Hey, this guy's so psycho, he put his brother's face to the fire. Or, I mean, she's been in with Tywin Lannister, who the mountains were around him. Camp talk.
My only thing,
get around.
and I completely agree, it's very likely that that's happened. My thing is they made such a big deal of Sansa finding out and making sure don't tell the Hound. You would think they would kind of do the same with Arya. Just kind of along the lines of it's a secret, nobody knows. Take this.
Yeah, but Arya wouldn't listen. She does what she wants.
Right.
Thanks, Glenn.
You are correct. So yeah, basically the scene so close yet so far away. Kind of just stop for a snack. And then at one point, Arya says, "No one's gonna believe you're a hog farmer if you eat all of them."
It's a poor hog farmer that eats his own wares.
Yeah.
And the Hound starts talking about Ned, and he's talking to Arya, and he says, this is the closest you've ever been to your family since Ilian Payne took off your dad's head. And she just walks up to him and says, "Someday, I'm going to put a sword through your eye and out the back of your head with the deadest fucking eyes ever.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you.
I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to like it."
You've had extra gloves this whole time?
Lloyd and Harry. But yeah, just Maisie Williams was pretty incredible right there. I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah, no, agreed. All right, anybody got anything else on Hound and Arya outside the twins? All right, we will move inside the twins.
Yeah, it's still going to be there in 5 minutes.
Yes. Rob, Cat, girl from the show, Edmure, Blackfish, Walder, and his massive litter of Freys. They share salt and bread. Rob meets the ladies he scorned and gives his apologies. Walder gets a look at the new queen. Glenn?
Yeah, Rob sees this Frey lineup of what he missed out on, and kind of Walter's just the whole time kind of putting him on blast. And Rob really can't say anything because, trying to gain him as an ally, he can't really, piss and moan and, argue with him. So he just kind of has to take it right now. And then at one point he wants to step up when he's talking about the girl from show, but I think Catelyn kind of holds him back, like, don't fucking do anything.
Yep.
Don't do anything stupid.
We need him.
Let's just get this over with. Get the fuck out of here.
Ab?
I like right at the beginning when they are sharing the bread that they've been given to sample. In the background, you see Edmure, like, everybody else is polite about eating it, and he has the most disgusted look on his face. He's, like, wiping it off with, like, it's just disgusting. There's no type of trying for courtesy here. And, I don't know. Phrase, he's just, a guy you just wouldn't like. You could try to be nice and kind, and he's still just going to be an asshole.
Well, yeah, if you wronged him, he's going to make you suffer for it. He's going to make you...
a person who's just never impressed. Like, oh, you just threw a perfect game? Great. Slow clap for you.
All right.
Slow clap for you. Like, he just,
You talking about Edmure?
No, Walter Frey.
Yeah.
Frey, yeah.
Yeah, he just... Nothing anybody's going to do is going to be of any type of greatness to him. He's just a jerk.
Something that he kind of gets into, he says, I extend my hospitality and protection in the sight of the seven. So he's clearly knows, these guest right laws and extending bread and salt. It's pretty telling that, they're making a big deal out of this for their own protection.
Exactly.
And he's looking at, Talisa, girl from show, and basically he's like, okay, I need to get a better look and see what, basically cost me having a daughter for a queen. And he gets into the whole, I think you kind of didn't choose for love. I think you chose for a nice pair of tits and a fit body. And
I can respect that.
And he can too. Like that's his.
That's what I'm saying is because that's the note I have. As your king says, he betrayed me for love. I think he betrayed me for a nice pair of tits and a tight fit. And I can respect that. It's fair because he's had how many wives and
and
no disrespect.
Lord Filch is basically going through and saying, I can still see right through your clothes, even though you're wearing like this big like trench coat dress, and he's like, you're trying to hide her. If you wanted to hide her, you shouldn't have fucking brought her here.
Yeah,
well, to that point in the books, not to harp on in the books, but she's not even there.
Girl from book.
Girl from book is not there. Girl from show isn't in book.
That's true. Girl from show does not make an appearance in the book.
So, I don't know what else you want me to say.
We haven't been in the Westerlings. All right. So, staying inside the twins, we have Edmure, Hot Frey, quote, Rosalind, Rob, Cat, Girl from Show, Walder, and the Blackfish, along with many other people. And
peeps.
Roose Bolton is there as well. Mm-hmm. Edmure gets a bowl to put his floppy fish in. The look from Walder to Rob when he, once they revealed Rosalind, he said, "See, not all my whelps are hideous. Yeah. She could have been yours."
That came out of my ball sack.
one for 30. 1 for 30. All right, come on.
Hey, Glenn, would you? She came from Walter Frey's balls.
Think about that and answer the question.
So whenever they're walking up the aisle, Frey and Hot Frey, the shot where Rob turns to look at them walking up, he looks right through Roose. Like, Roose is kind of like diagonal to him, and they make eye contact, and then I just thought it was really
time to look at
really interesting the way that was shot to show that Roose is kind of in between them here.
Yeah. No, great. It was very fitting, or what's the word? Symbolism.
Kind of. Symbology. What's the symbol? No, it's symbolism.
Foreshadowing.
So,
yes.
Glenn.
Edmure definitely wins the lottery. And you can just see the look on his face. He goes from 6 to midnight pretty quickly whenever she's revealed.
6 seconds to midnight.
Ab.
Well, during the live watch or whatever, this, no disrespect, Edmure.
You don't like him.
I try really hard. Yes, I really don't like him at all. Like, there's nothing that Tobis Mendez can do that is going to make him like him in any character he is. So every little, like, I guess I can understand him being like, oh my God, what am I getting into? And then being happy and surprised. Maybe that's genuine or charming. I found it to be like so slimy and disgusting. And I'm like, God, I hope you die. Like, I hate him. So I feel like I have a very skewed view on him.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think they call that the McPoyle effect.
Yes. I don't really know if that's how it comes across to other people. Like, I just thought he was like the most disgusting thing ever.
The scientific term.
Is that Freudian? I don't know. The McPoyle effect.
Now, one thing I didn't pay attention to when I watched it again this morning was Ruse sitting next to Fat Walda, or was there a large bride or large female next to him? That would make sense.
I think they say something later.
Yeah, that he got married.
Just saying like the visual.
Yeah, I was wondering if they visually put him with.
I don't remember. I think there was another guy there.
Oh,
which
okay.
maybe it was her. She looks like a guy. I don't know.
Abby will appreciate this from the not Twitch chat, the YouTube chat from DA. Twatmure Tully.
Twatmure Tully.
Yes, he's just, ugh.
The Muppet Tully's fan club is growing. All right. So we're going to move on. We're going to leave the twins for a little while, and we're going to Yonkai.
Yonkai.
We got Danny.
Your Espanol announcer voice is just phenomenal.
Yonkai.
Goal.
Damn it, I wanted to do the names in there. Danny, Dario, Barristan, Jorah, and Grey Worm.
Grey Worm.
They make plans to take the city.
Oh, God.
Fucking killing me.
So Dario slips past Jorah's defenses of the friend zone. And they talk about slipping past Yonkai's defenses. So just a lot of defenses being talked about, getting past them.
Thwarted.
No, like my point is Dario, or Jorah's kind of placed right in between Danny and Dario. And Dario's like, I guess, answering one of Danny's questions, but just kind of loops right around and just, kind of gets in position.
Sidles.
Yeah.
Takes the dragon by the horns.
Right.
Yeah, I do like I felt bad. Jorah battle blocking the bold. Your place is by the queen, no matter our pride. Basically saying, I already don't trust you. I know I don't trust fucking him. You're staying here. Jorah's losing his grip on being Danny's boy.
Danny boy.
Oh, Danny boy, the Danny boys are Danny boys.
The Danny boys are Danny boys.
So, yeah, Barristan, being left behind, he basically gets called out to... because he's like, you guys could use an extra sword here, right? Are we on the right scene? Am I on the right scene?
No, you're not.
And so Barristan's like, you guys could use an extra sword. And, Barristan, we hear he's pretty good.
He's bold.
We haven't actually seen much. He's bold. He might be old now.
Old and bold.
Old and bold. Kingsguard. But, Queensguard, I should say. But Jorah kind of steps in and tells him, hey, your place is here with the queen. Like, that is your number one duty. Like, we'll do this. It would be nice to have you, but at the same time, you're all she's got. If something goes wrong, you have to have him at her side. That's exactly where he needs to be. And Jorah says, we all have our duties regardless of pride. And I think it's exactly what Barristan needed to hear, because he's bold. And I don't think he's really in it for glory necessarily, but he knows that he would be a big benefit to that small group, that small task force. But his place is definitely at Daenerys' side here.
Exactly. Abby, what's your thoughts on the battle plans?
I mean, it's definitely jumping in and trusting a guy we know little about, putting a lot of faith in him. I also noticed that when she's talking to Barristan, Dario, and Jorah, she speaks one way. Obviously, she's speaking, is it Valyrian to Grey Worm?
Yes.
But her tone is different. Like, she speaks to him like that uber kind. Like, I don't want to do something you don't want to do. So just tell me what your true thoughts are. No harm will come to you. Where to Jorah or anybody else, she's just like, you're going tonight. See ya. You know, there definitely is a tone change.
For a Grey Worm specifically?
Yes.
Yeah. She treats him kind of like a student, kind of, is the way I read it. Like student or ward, kind of.
I think she treats him like, I don't want to make you do something you don't want to do. Like, you were a slave and you are no longer that. So trying to make it perfectly clear that he has voice, that he's allowed to use it.
Gotcha. I see. Yeah, no, I
without
see your
being
point.
judgmental or whatever.
Yeah, I was kind of going off the softer thing, but yeah, no, that I see exactly what you're saying. So, all right. Then we move to the inside the city walls of Yungai. Dario, Jorah, and Grey Worm. They go ham on about a dozen guards before they are surrounded by about a gross of them. I really didn't have much great battle scene. You know, it was a good fight scene.
Solid fight choreography.
Yeah.
Teamwork make the dream work. Another thing about the scene is Dario's like, all right, I'll give you the signal. I'll make a bird call or something like that. But you know,
like a bar now.
They should have brought Quail Man into the fold.
Quail Man. And even with that, Dario is like, I'm a great whistler, best in the land.
Best in the land.
There is just no subtlety to
I won
Dario.
first prize at the county fair.
At the yodeling and whistling competition in the county.
I did like with that scene the differences you saw in how the three battled. Like it was one choreographer that set up the scene that did it all together, but he had distinct styles for each of the actors to use and portray. And I thought that I appreciate that. It could have been easy. Oh yeah, you stab this way and you stab. No, they all
and the different weapons really help that to sell the different styles.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's definitely personality in the way it's done as well too, which is neat.
Yeah.
That's actually my biggest thought from it too, was just that they each distinctly fought their training or what, and you could tell even though they worked together. It was pretty cool. I summoned to make the back circle to defense all styles. I'm talking about circle up. Don't let them in. Good to have in common.
Yeah. So, we're going back outside the walls of Yungai, and we have Dany, Dario, Barristan, Jorah, and Grey Worm. Jorah and Grey Worm return to tell of their victory, and Dany only cares of, where's Dario? Sorry, this is the beginning.
I knew you were going to be very annoying about that.
I am, but that was the only time I'm doing it. No. This is the beginning of that, but it's, because you feel bad for Jorah, because he's standing there like, yeah, we just saved the city, and that's all she could think about.
I don't feel bad for Jorah at all, because it's his own fucking fault that this happened. He walks in with Grey Worm, specifically to tell her this, leaving Dario out in the back with the fucking spoils over his shoulder, the showing that, hey, we've got the capture the flag reward. Jorah fucking set this up.
Okay.
He's an idiot if he doesn't think that's going to go badly for him in his own mental game. It's
walk
his
in
own fucking
last.
fault.
I mean, I
always
let her
walk
worry.
in last.
Walk in last.
Or
let her worry.
If Jorah was thinking, have Dario going first, and then or all together is for Jorah the best option, but he gave all of the glory to Dario the way he fucking, because I'm making him responsible.
Fair enough. I'm not going to argue with you on that. Just the look he had. You get a little twinge of the look. You're like, yeah, you're right. He set it all up, but it fell back on him. It didn't go in his favor.
Captain Friendzone strikes again.
Right. And he was like the first one to say, "Oh, we won the battle." Which in his mind, like, oh, she's like, oh, thank God.
Oh my God, can we make out now?
I think it at one point just went south for him, and she asked about the whereabouts of Dario Naharis.
Dario Naharis.
Ab, anything?
I also feel bad for Jorah just because I like him. I like him. He's
a
maybe,
friend.
yeah, he's a friend.
He's a great friend.
He's one of those guys that needs like a dating coach, maybe.
He'll do really well in college. Dario did well at high school.
Yes, like he just needs to.
And that's Danny's age right now,
right?
So that makes sense.
Yeah, he's the jock.
Yeah, so But I do understand her even wondering where he is. Your 2 guys come in, but you sent 3. I think your initial reaction was be concerned for the missing part. But whatever. They won, which makes me happy.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
So anybody got anything else on Young Guy?
No.
Anything down
He
there?
just does a good Jeff Goldblum impersonation.
All right, so we're going north of the wall, and we have Sam, Gilly, and Baby Craster. Gilly gets her first look at the wall, and I just liked Sam the Reading Wizard.
Mm-hmm.
You're a wizard,
you're like
Sam.
a wizard or something.
You take all those marks on the pages on the paper, and it makes sense to you.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting way of putting it. I mean, like, reading is kind of like magic. It's like, oh, these just fucking little symbols just create all these fucking thoughts and
Right.
things. That communication.
Really, if you take
is
a look
a pretty impressive
in a
technology.
book,
Reading
it's
Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
You know, that's what it was. And Jordy was there, so. LeVar Burton.
LeVar.
Burton.
I was going to say, do you know the his name?
I can do anything.
The floor's yours. Go for it.
I do think like that was one of the points Gilly makes. Like, you can just look at all these scribbles on a piece of paper and you know all this. And it can kind of blow your mind if you work through that. Like, how much you can learn just from some markings on a paper.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
And
I
yet
was
he
smoking
still
weed
can't
at that
build a
point,
fire.
which I don't do.
We
But
all
yeah,
have our
right?
skills.
But I also, they're going to the Knight's Fort, or we're trying to, and it was the first castle. But they don't man it anymore because it's just too big to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that the Night's Watch has been dwindling for a while.
Years.
Mhm.
I just don't know when, or like I wonder when it was abandoned, when they decided this is just too big for us. How many years have passed since it was maintainable to now not being able to?
Right.
don't
And
know.
it might be one of those things where the resources were just too hard to get and, just not enough manpower to
Mm-hmm.
kind of.
Especially when they're trying to
keep up.
cover 700 miles of wall.
Yeah.
Or 300 miles of wall. And, I liked the Night Fort history with, Jaehaerys the First is the one who kind of commissioned it and on all these things. And I also really like Sam's, like, mindless spurting of information. Like, that's just, like, his natural fucking state of being is,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just going to start talking about facts that I know because that's what makes me
I
comfortable.
just got to get it off my chest. I got to tell somebody.
Right. And you're the only audience member.
Right.
So buckle up.
So, if nobody else has anything, we're going to go south of the wall, and we're in the Gift, where Bran, Osha, Hodor, Rickon, Mira, and Jojen come across an abandoned farm. Pretty basic theme. We get the knowledge of what the Gift is and what area they're in, and, just pretty much all I took away from it. Wasn't too much for that scene.
Osha's reaction to the wildlings being blamed for the abandoned area of the Gift was pretty funny because even Bran was like, because Jojen and Mira were like, why is this all abandoned? Why is no one here? And Bran calls it out, the wildlings. And he looks at Osha, he's like, sorry. Like, that's just
Right.
kind of the reason why. So it was funny to kind of see her be offended by that, and then she makes a joke because Rickon talks about how Old Man was like, yeah, they used to drink the blood of the people that they kill, and as they're walking away, and Osha was like, I mean, I'm getting hungry, but I'll just have a glass of blood.
No, come on inside. We'll have some blood.
We'll have some blood. I don't need much.
I don't need much. She's so funny. She's so funny.
Anything else from that one? All right. John, saying in the same area, John, Egret, Tormund, Orell, Wildlings, and a horse rancher. John cautions the group not to kill the rancher and distracts Egret as she tries to arrow him. My thoughts on this was you can see Tormund even start to not to trust John, calling him out, not wanting the rancher killed. He's like, that's what we do. That's who we are. That's what we're going to fucking do. And even John, when John talked back to him, he was like, fuck it, we're going. And just started off. So you start seeing the cracks build where he believes that, maybe Orell might be right. Glenn?
Right, and you see John he knocks his sword on the rock, to kind of startle the horses, to kind of alert the rancher, and then distracting Ygritte. He just doesn't want anything bad to happen here for whatever reason, and I think the look on Ygritte's face when he distracts her is just kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
That's all I got out of that too. It's just like her totally kind of questioning, this is what we're fucking here for. After the whole conversation they had just had on the other side of that little rock wall.
Yeah.
It's we know that they think that they're kind of a team together. At least she thinks that, kind of regardless of what everyone else is doing, those two are going to stick together, John and Ygritte. But I think this is the first kind of chink in that actual armor, even though she's called him out specifically. It's you don't want to be with the Night's Watch. You don't really want to be with these, savages, but you want to be with me. And I think the way he acts right there kind of makes her question that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Am I fucking wrong on this?
No, I think so. Ab?
I wondered if him hitting his sword on the rock is in the books like that, or if we're beyond even what's in the books. Only because if you have that many people running, even well disguised, but full out running, those horses are gonna know you're coming. Whether there's a chink to a rock or a yell, just the pressure they put on the ground, they're just too smart. They would have been upset anyways. Visually, it made him look like a decent moral person, but I think them just running those horses would have been getting all kinds of wild up. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have much more on that one because I'll save my Ygritte thoughts for later.
Ygritte thoughts.
All right, so next scene in South of the Wall in The Gift, we have Bran, Osha, Hodor, Rickon, Mira, Jojen, John, Ygritte, Tormund, Orell, and the Rancher. Bran and crew hide in the tower during a storm, which causes Hodor to start hodoring. John and crew confront the Rancher just outside the tower, and John shows his true colors and escapes with the help of Summer and Shaggy Dog. This is a long one, kind of combined everything together here.
Mm-hmm.
So, Luke.
Warging into Hodor is an entirely new level of problematic morality for Bran. It's one thing to kind of absent-mindedly in your dreams warg into your dog. That's one thing. It's a different thing to, have these visions and with the three-eyed raven and all this, but warging into another person, regardless of potentially mindless they are, which is kind of how Hodor's played up, is he doesn't have much mental capacity, but he's still a human. I just don't see Bran being comfortable with
right.
With
and
this.
I think the way I understand it is warging into a human is kind of frowned upon, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just seemed, maybe my take on this is just, he didn't mean to warg into him necessarily. He was just trying to calm him down, and then it just maybe accidentally,
kind of like a sympathetic connection that forced it at the time.
Yeah,
almost
warged into him just so he would shut the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't realized that this wasn't the first time that Bran intentionally warged into Summer. Because up until I thought it was still him and Jojen were practicing, or I think that's a little variation from book to now too. So, but in the show, this is a big moment where he can control that, and then with the Hodor part of now he's like, well, I can control it, and fuck, I can do it to him. This probably isn't good, So, Glenn, you got another point on yours? The next part where John and
yeah, so we see the thunder as it's thundering outside now.
It is. So if we lose power or anything,
we're fucked, right?
We're fucked.
Yeah.
So basically, there's the big debate. I heard shouting in that tower or whatever, And Tormund's like, well, no, that was just lightning that you heard. So
That was just
the
like
big debate of shouting v lightning could have easily been solved by Eagle Hawking flying into the tower and just seeing what's up and
caw.
Just caw.
screech.
Doesn't even fly into the tower, just fly past the window. Slow mo,
Yeah.
a slow stroll.
Eagle Hawking.
Eagle Hawking.
Man. Go
Al.
back and watch that Abby's first time viewing this episode, because with us commentating over it, there were some pretty good jokes.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Eagle Hawking.
So, what I thought. Somebody's trying to break into my room right now. It's just my own kid. Don't be scared. So, my initial thoughts here was weird what happened with Bran and Hodor. And I'm going to throw it back over to you because I have knocking at my door.
All right. Well,
Sorry.
Going a little further in the scene, I like when John gets to be a bit of a cunt to Oral and is like stabs him right through the chest and like, you were right about me all fucking along.
The whole time.
Yeah, the whole time. And just, shoves it. And then, of course, the eagle's like, comes down. It's a good little...
Hawking.
Like, okay, when I came over just now, you were listening to the commentaries.
It was like on that scene.
It was
right?
on that scene, and they said something about that was such a good eagle to work with. That was not a real eagle in that.
Well, I thought he said hawk.
Or
That's
hawk
what he
or,
said. I think, isn't it supposed to be an eagle?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the guy said hawk.
Yeah, but either way, I'm just like, that they would not have John fight up a hawk or an eagle. Like, it had to be...
It was a stuffed fucking thing that actually was sitting on him, and like the physics of it makes no fucking sense. Like, it hits him, and like it's still like tackling into him. It's like, no, the physics doesn't work that way. His momentum is gone. I was just like that. Looking back at it, like specifically, it looked pretty terrible. I thought
it did. Like
It did look terrible.
Yeah, the eagle flying.
Like,
was
we
a good.
roll around with this stuffed fucking chicken.
Yeah.
So yeah, that just threw me. I'm like, wait a second, they can't train an eagle to attack. Just had me, but I'm like, then I just was watching. I'm like, that's a fucking eagle.
It was a great eagle to work with.
Yeah,
because it's a fucking stuffed animal.
And I will admit I was wrong the other night during our live stream about when John rode off. I'm not going to, because I'm not sure if Abby was on, if we were talking about that. So I'm not going to continue on so I don't spoil anything.
You were wrong.
But I was wrong. I was incorrect about something. So
Yep.
I was right from the book, wrong from the show.
Exactly. There's a lot of those in this episode specifically, which we'll talk about another day.
Yeah.
I really liked whenever they had the horse rancher on the ground and Tormund walks up to him and it's like, let's throw that knife away. It's not going to save you now. And the rancher asks, can I at least get on my feet? And I like that Tormund actually let him do that, because it's easy for him to just be like, oh, no, knife, done. Like, just kill the guy. But
Done.
he lets the guy die with some dignity. And I think that was really interesting from these savages, quote unquote, that they still have some, human fucking decency. Like, let the guy die on his feet. And because it was just cool if I thought that they let them do that.
Honor, honor bound.
And then that when the fight actually starts up, Tormund kind of takes Ygritte off to the side a little bit, kind of tackles her and kind of wrangles her up and gets her.
Well,
John
shoved her off first.
Well, yeah,
and then
when she was on, but basically Tormund kind of goes after her after
Yeah.
John shoves her off to the side to make sure she doesn't get in the fight, basically. And Tormund is like just almost like bear hugging her to like force her to see, like, these are the fucking choices that he's making right now. Like, start dealing with it right now, because if you make a stupid choice and you get killed because of a stupid fucking choice, unfortunately, I can't do anything else about that.
Exactly. So another thunder rolls. Thunder rolls. Anybody got anything else for this scene?
I do.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go
I was
ahead.
interrupted. Not by you. But, so, you might have touched on it. I don't know. I walked away. Ygritte, at the very beginning of John being called, see, he's still a crow, she stands at his defense. And John pushes her away, which I don't really know if I'm surprised by that. I think, like you said earlier, it's kind of those two. And then there's the wildlings. And then there's the Night's Watch. But those two. I was very surprised that it would have just been Tormund that he had to overcome, at least from my viewing, and him and Ygritte could ride off together.
Yeah.
Why? Like, why, John? I don't understand. I get that he's a man of the Night's Watch, and that brings a whole level of questions or things to figure out, but she stood there in defense of you. Like, that hurts me for her. I feel, heart's broken for it. My next thought is, had that been, like, you didn't realize that that was Summer and Shaggy Dog? Like the wolves? Like, you know you have two great allies sitting right there. It's not like some random wolves or dire wolves are hanging out there. You know exactly who these two are. And you're just going to ride away with one person that's going to come after you. Like, I just find it like, And Shaggy Dog and Summer are there. Obviously, there's probably a Stark nearby. Like, would be my thought. So I just was a little questioning. I don't know. Get out of Dodge. That's always a good tactic. But my overall thoughts on that, I was surprised that he didn't search for his family.
Yeah, again, it was the get out of Dodge kind of. He didn't pay that much attention. He just saw. I take it as he saw a wolf go and take out, whoever. He probably didn't process that. Oh, that's a fucking dire wolf. Oh wait, dire wolves haven't been south of the wall for 100 years. Oh wait, except for the 5
the
or
ones
6
that I found.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he probably didn't
I
process it that quickly.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean,
because I made kind of the same point of with it. How would he know which dogs they are? But then you guys brought it up, and it's like there's only been there's only been 6 fucking dire wolves in the last 100 years. So yeah, you would make sense. So that thought does make sense. But yeah, I think it was just he just probably didn't process it.
Yep.
So all right,
and he doesn't really know anything.
No.
So
you could say he maybe potentially knows nothing. Debatable.
Sure.
All right, final scene in The Gift. We have Bran, Osha, Rickon, Mira, Jojen, and a still sleeping Hodor. And cheers to Hodor. Hodor. All right, Bran sends Osha, Rickon, and Shaggy Dog away to stay with the Umbers to protect them as he and the others are heading past the wall. So they did specifically say here, Osha does say to Rickon, we're going to go to the Umbers, and
they'll teach you to fight with a sword.
Yeah.
I know how to fight with a sword.
God, he's so annoying.
I thought that little actor did great
I
right
thought it
there.
was great. Every time he's been on, Benji has whinged about him.
Well,
I don't know
thought,
what it is about him.
One, his writing lines, the lines he's given aren't the greatest because he's a little kid. How old is he in real life? What, 6, 7, 8? Just him to be able to command. I don't know. I find him charming because he's supposed to be this little brother, and I don't know. He's cute.
Know. I don't know. It's completely unreasonable, my annoyance with him. Yeah. I own that, and I know that. It just, I don't know what it is. He just annoys me.
And
it's
he
not
did
the actor.
real good.
He does his lines, and I think it might be the writing, or because because the kid's probably 10 years old by this point. The actor himself is probably 10 years old, 9, 10, but they're still writing him like a 3-year-old. 3 or 4-year-old because that's what he is in the books.
Okay,
and
I can see that.
That I think because everybody else took the age up that they're getting, he's being stuck as this tiny little
infant or toddler, whatever, little baby guy.
So I think that's probably my main issue with it is because everybody else aged up and he wasn't allowed to. So.
Yep. Well, if we're talking about things we have issue with, does anybody else not like Jojen?
I like Jojen.
Do you?
I don't hate him. I don't really
indifferent
like him either. So
I feel like he is that guy who's like, I'm gonna be big to look like I'm smart. I don't know if that makes sense, and I don't have a ton of experience with Jojen yet, so I'm trying to hold out my thoughts and feelings. But sometimes, I feel like he's like, "Do it, Bran, do it." I'm like, "Quit being you pushy little fucker." Bran will do it when he wants to, and I get you have to try to hone people, But I guess maybe coming from a child or a kid Brand's own age, like how is he apparently his own age? Who even knows if that's real right now? But who is trying to be like this authoritative or knowing figure is being hard for me to like swallow. Like somebody to be this person you look to for advice, and I don't know. I just having issues with him, I guess.
Sure, I think that's fair, but he's in a pretty tough spot himself. You know, he doesn't have the answers, but he's got some ideas. You know, he's got some experience with a little bit of what Brand's going on, but not everything. But he's also the only resource that Brand has, and he's looked to as an expert in this, and he's not. He wants to be. He wants to help, and he knows he has to push Brand every once in a while, but he doesn't know what to do. He needs to drink more.
I think maybe that's a good philosophy. I think maybe that's what I was missing before, was that he also, like, he acknowledges he doesn't necessarily know, but maybe has been, has experienced more of this stuff. So all of a sudden he is the expert when he's like, really, I just kind of saw some things a couple times and now I'm supposed to know. That makes sense.
It's like, oh, you played Quiplash once on Johnny's stream? Guess what? You're an expert now. No.
I'm going to win every time. Right?
All right. Glenn, what's your thoughts on?
Yeah, so basically OSHA, ever since, Maester Lewin died, it was like basically her kind of goal or whatever to keep the boys safe, kind of like a Brienne, promise. Go.
I stopped watching the World Cup today to play Quiplash. Just want to throw that out there.
You missed PKs.
Oh, I saw. Did the second game go into PKs?
Yep.
Damn. All right. Don't tell me what happened.
It was a good one.
It happened.
Anyways, yeah, OSHA seems like this is kind of the turning point where she kind of has given up on protecting Bran. He just won't comply. So it's almost like her next goal is to keep Rickon safe. That's the main.
She kind of has to almost cut her losses. She's like, it's almost not worth the fight at this point.
Just keep arguing and fuck it.
It's like if he's dead set on
doing
doing
this,
this,
do your thing.
Yeah.
I'll keep this other one safe.
So one of the conversations that Jojen kind of has here is you ward into Hodor, and Bran's like, I mean, that can't be that uncommon, right? Because to him it came so unfortunately and scarily easy. He's like, I have no idea what to do. Oh, I'll just warg into him on accident. And so he's like, they can't do that north of the wall. And Jojen's like, no one can do that anywhere. It was just, I don't know. It's a scary spot for Bran to be in, and I don't think he realizes the depth of where he's at talent-wise in this. And that raw, unfettered talent can be pretty dangerous, I think.
Exactly. No, absolutely. My only real notes on the scene is it was a sweet goodbye from Osha and Rickon, and Osha even conceding to Mira, saying, take care of this one. He means a lot to me. And like I said, conceding to her, saying, I know you can do it. I know you can take care of him. You can watch him. You can protect him. So I have to protect this one. We need to go. And it was a sweet goodbye, and that's where I had my little note. I don't know what it is about that kid, but God damn it. No, but even his goodbye was a sweet, kind of, trying at being older. So, all right, we got some more beers. We are going to do our sigil giveaway for this episode. The one we did before was actually for episode 4. Sorry, I did not mention that before. Whoa. So we're doing the second giveaway of this episode. Glenn, you got the numbers. Go ahead and draw one.
While he's doing that, weather check. It's raining its dick off out there.
No shit. Oh, all right. Just about to pick one. We have lucky number 26.
Oh, good number.
Which is
a good number.
Chalice on a green and red checky background.
Oh.
No, it's just the sigil is green and the badge outline is red.
All right. Christmas chalice.
Awesome. So I do want to take a moment, though, really quick. And for those who don't know, we started up a Patreon.
There's a whole note about that later.
We
can talk about it now. Let's talk about it now.
Well,
I figured talk about it now.
Let's be sure to tweet a picture of your winning sticker at
Let him
Drink
finish his sigil.
to claim your prize.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Tweet a picture if you have that winning sticker from Ice and FireCon. And I think for season 4, hopefully we can get more stickers out to more people. Especially you guys here in the chat. Let us know if you want one, and you can get in on the giveaways.
Okay. Yeah. I did not see the
Well, go ahead and do
note,
it.
but
Yeah, go for it.
all right. So, officially launched today. We have a new Patreon, and we want you to join. And we want you to join the podcastthat.com's Imaginary Legion. For as little as $1 a month, you can join the ranks of the Legion. Go to patreon.com/stayimaginary to see how you can start getting exclusive content and other goodies today. And for all the ways you can keep our beer bank full, check out our podcast, thepodcastthat.com/support us page. But I wanted to give a shout out for our Patreon because we do have a Patreon that qualifies. She already signed up this morning. I know it's Bailey, but I know you know the official call out of
at Riddles Reviews here in the chat.
Yes,
and
our very first.
And also Terrence in the chat. Those were our first 2 patrons, and we could not thank you guys more. And tell your friends.
Yeah. So, like I said, we had a nice little break in our narration because we're getting to an open discussion. This is I left
from the chat real quick.
Yeah.
We got a question on how this giveaway ticket thing works, and that's a great question because unless you were at Ice and FireCon, you wouldn't have seen these. But we have a bunch of these stickers that are. I'll hold 1 or 2 of them up. Well, of course, there's Spuds Mackenzie's because we have a shit ton of those left. So they vary in the sigil and the sigil color and the background color. So we're calling out these 3 different items, completely randomized. And we will get you guys all. Send us an email at knowing.Uncut@gmail.com with your addresses, and we'll get shit sent out to you guys.
Send them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we need more, which would be an amazing problem to have, we'll make some fucking more.
Yeah,
We'll make some regular more too.
I'll make more.
Hey, Abby, start making more.
Okay.
All right.
So the reason I said that or did all that because I left this whole bottom section open to the Red Wedding. We are back at the Twins for our final scene. It was a long final scene. It was a 15 to 16-minute final scene.
Every episode, we
Cheers.
have one of these.
We do. But this is at the Twins. It's Rob, Kat, Roos, Edmure, Blackfish, girl from the show. I'll give her to Lisa for her final. Walder.
If you haven't figured out, that's who Girl from Show is.
Aria, the Hound, Greywind, and a shit ton of phrase and sacrificial North hams.
I like how Abby just completely overfilled her glass for this. Just wine bottle. Just get the funnel out.
Take it to the face.
But so I'm leaving it open discussion. It's a nice day for a red wedding. My first note, and I'll just go with this, is second time we have a dead Ned.
Yeah.
Because Talisa basically just told Rob, well, if it's a son, if it's a boy, I know what we're going to name him. And he's like, what?
Shouldn't the dad have some say in
Yeah,
it?
shouldn't
It's
the-
like, it's fucking Eddard.
Yeah, don't you want to teach Eddard how to ride horses, young Eddard?
Yeah. So I rewatched today with Joe, and that whole little part comes up right there. Don't you think the dad should have something to say? And I'm like, dude, fuck you. Like, I'm carrying this baby. You can just shut up and just ride your line, bro.
I mean, the dad has to put up with you for 9 months. Jesus.
Deal with it, bro. That's all I gotta say. And then I looked at Joe, who is my husband, and we have had 3 children together. I was like, I'm sorry, that's probably that little like harsh or a little bit my own anger coming out, but I'm like, you ever said some shit like that? Yeah, your ass would be on the ground too, like real quick. He's like, okay, I won't.
I've already named it Lionel Richie Stark.
Lionel Richie Baratheon. Jerry curl of hair.
Yeah, but
All
never
night
know.
long of hair.
All night long.
I will say, immediately when Rob married Talisa, I really liked her. I thought it was a good match. I believed him, like they were in love. It was cute, and I was all for it, but I thought it was a mistake. I think you're supposed to. And then I watched kind of like the after show stuff, and they're like, I think everybody knows their guard's like kind of supposed to be up, but the wedding does seem so like happy and light and fun, and all of a sudden like those doors closed immediately, I'm like, why the fuck are they closing the doors? And we are like two counts into Reigns of Castamere, and I was like, no.
Dem Castamere.
I'm done.
Dem Reigns.
And so for listeners at home, the ones that didn't catch our live stream, that is specifically why every time that song since season 2 has been played, that I mentioned it was.
We know.
I'm saying for
we know.
this is for the
Glenn and I
podcast.
were making fun of you earlier.
Yeah, I know, but this is for the
Specific.
podcast people
I
because
instilled this in Abby each time.
yes,
Reigns
because
Castamere. The Reigns of Castamere. I mean, I think you should have been confident when I told you I heard a guy at Walmart whistling in it.
I did, and after that I don't think I mentioned it again.
So if it
Sing it.
happened to you like this weekend, do you think it would have felt differently about it if you heard him whistling the Reigns of
Yeah,
Castamere
I
in
think I
aisle
would have
over?
walked-
You're like, I'm getting the fuck out.
I would have walked over
dog food
into
can
like the
fucking
dog
wait.
food aisle and I'd be like,
Dog
fuck
food?
you. I just watched the Red Wedding. Go screw yourself.
take your whistling and
Oh,
go
my
fuck yourself.
Whistling Dixie.
Been too much.
So whenever they went and
But-
closed the doors, that was Lothar Frey. Same way we saw earlier when they were setting up this marriage proposal, and he was not limping this time. I was disappointed because that's supposed to be lame Lothar
Oh, okay.
with a club foot, basically. It's just like,
Well,
if
he's
you
the one that
use
was sitting
same
next
actor.
to Lisa, right? Like when they kind of panned, he was sitting right next to her, like kind of
I
dark
know.
haired with the goatee.
Yeah, kind of a pointy goatee.
Yeah.
You got the McPoyle hat on.
Yes.
But I was just a little disappointed. I was like, they did such a good job at incorporating that earlier. Like, how are you going to drop that out now? When I don't know. Yeah, it's a guy in the background. Like, just go close the fucking doors. But I don't know. It just seemed like a easy miss.
Yeah. So
Opportunities
next notes.
squandered.
Yeah. So they talk about the betting, right? And Talisa, girl from show, is like, that's a really fucked up, like weird thing you guys got going on around here. And Rob's like, yeah. I guess it is kind of odd if you're a foreigner. And so then later on,
We do.
Kat is talking to Bruce Bolton
Yeah.
about it at this, like kind of in the same little portion of this long fucking scene. And Bruce is like, "Yeah, you probably enjoyed your betting too, right? You know, it's funny, but
Yeah,
and
every bride enjoys the same fear and pain or something.
right." And she was like, "Nope, Ned forbade it."
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. That I don't know. It's good to see that. I believe that out of Ned entirely.
No,
It's
and
just-
we saw that actually last episode. Saw the same thing of Tyrion forbidding Sansa's betting. You know,
Forbade.
I think it was a source of pride for Catelyn that happened for
Yeah.
her. Like, that's what my husband did for me. It doesn't always have to happen. Talisa's, which seems strange for a foreigner. I think she wanted to be like, bitch, this is strange for anybody. What the hell is going on? Look at them
exactly.
typing.
We're just typing notes about you. No, Chrissy of Old Stones has to head out, but we appreciate you stopping in, Chrissy, as always.
Ah. So
And thanks for stopping by.
so the Reigns of Castamere start and you know Frey calls.
Good afternoon, good
Stay-
evening,
stay
and good night.
classy.
Yeah. Frey calls Rob, my lord.
But
Come here.
But maybe
We're-
thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
But more importantly, stay classy.
Words have been said, drink has been drank, and
A sword needs a sheath.
a sword. Well, the sword needs a sheath. You're right. And then after I'm going to the next scene or the very next part, the doors are closed. And he's like, my lord or my king, and he turns around and whop, fucking. I still need to give you a gift. Or I haven't given my queen a gift. That's what it was. I haven't given the new queen a gift. And at that moment comes around and fucking like 7 or 8 stabs right to her gut. That's the part that got me. Because coming
Yeah.
up to this whole scene, I knew it was coming. I'd read the books. I knew what was, I read the books. I actually was spoiled before the books came out. So I knew about the scene. So I was kind of looking forward because I'd been annoyed with Kat and everything. But that got me. I'm sitting there watching the scene. I'm like, holy shit. I probably looked as dumbfounded as you, Ab.
Yeah, I bet you
I'm
did.
sure.
And you were found quite dumb.
Success.
But that's
But
right
what you
there.
don't know is I've seen all the episodes for the entire every season. It was just an act.
She really
Oh,
hasn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Disclaimer,
Just
she
kidding.
hasn't.
I'm just joking.
But
I
because
don't believe
that's the
what I just
change,
saw.
you know, from the literary version to the screen, because girl from the show is girl from the show. She was brought, so she was killed, which I wasn't expecting, because I was under the impression she was a spy. I will say this. I can say this now.
Girl from show.
Girl from
be
show.
spying.
I thought she was spying because every time we saw her, she'd writing notes, and then like the very next scene, Tywin's opening up notes, and you're like,
Oh no.
What? It's
So-
All right.
So I
wasn't
I
that
honestly
bad.
was fully anticipating. Yeah, she's a spy. She, that's how they're gonna play it, and cool. Nope, she got fucking shanked like a prison bitch. It
Yeah.
was like, oh,
And Rich just pointed out the comment that I was like right before this all happens, where they have the gift. Kat is sitting there with Roose Bolton, and they kind of make eye contact here, and he kind of has his hand sitting on the table, and he kind of looks down at his hand, and then she looks down at his hand, and then she lifts back his, like the end of his sleeve and sees the chainmail, and she's like, "You piece of shit!" Like, and then
Bitch.
slaps him, and then just yells for Rob, and that's when
yeah,
shit starts
to hit the
hitting the
fan.
literal fan.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that you go after the
metaphysical
baby
thing.
first is just, shows intent that's just so malicious and hurtful, and there's no coming back from it. I literally watched that whole scene just, there's a couple parts. So I think of it as Robin Talisa, Catelyn, and Arya and the Hound.
Mhm.
That's how I see everything. Like, and for the Robin Talisa part, when he like crawls everything over to her, and she's dead. Like she's definitely dead. You can see like all of him just leave. Like he's still alive and breathing, but he's done. And then if we want to move a little bit further, I don't know if you want to or not, but we see Catelyn, and she rips that girl, his wife, from under the table by her hair, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
biggest boss.
Drags
in
her
the
out.
fucking- She's like, you know
Pretty
what?
hard fucking core.
I might have a broken leg, broken spine.
I've got a
I'm
couple of
actually a
corals into my
paraplegic at
back.
this point, but I'm gonna stand up and rip this chick out from underneath this table by her hair, where she can't even like defend, stand up, and she yells enough, and she looks at Rob and she says, "Stand up!" Like just all of her
Just
will. You can feel
run
all
out.
of her just willing him to stand and get out of here, and then they don't allow it. I mean, it was just. I'm like, oh my gosh!
And why would I
like,
allow that?
She's just. Yeah, I know. Like, why would I do that? Oh, kill her! Like
Yeah.
he just. Oh, he's so
I'll get a new
grimy
one.
and he's so terrible. I know.
Then did you know? Well, I'm sure you did. But when Roose
He's-
approached Rob at that moment,
What do you mean?
what did he say?
I don't know if I caught it. Maybe
Okay.
as you say
And-
it, I will. I don't know if I did though.
Roose approached
Damn
Rob
Lannisters.
and basically says the Lannisters send their
Oh
regards.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
A recycled
Sorry,
line
I
from
was.
the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he says that, and Kat tries to like leverage the damage, and on my honor as a Tully, I will slit her throat, and he does his whole thing, and even though she realizes like he doesn't care, he really doesn't. This is not a bargaining chip that he cares to lose or cares anything about. She still slits that girl's throat with like zero fucks.
That's what you got to do.
None were given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the quite literal least she could do at that point to have
Yep.
some,
Effects.
malediction here. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So let's talk about Arya and
Yeah,
Hound for a
let's-
second. They showed up the doors, and Hound's like, "I'm here with pork for the feast."
The feast is over.
It's over. Well, what the fuck am I supposed to do with all this pork? Are you-
I also have
I
pork.
got pig's feet
Are you
too.
soft in the head?
yes.
this
second
giant
one-
As
fucking
Arya
guy.
slips away. Yeah.
Like, yeah, but like this Gatesman or whatever comes out. Yeah, he might not recognize the Hound. This is a big fucking guy who's got just this little shawl on over his fucking chainmail. Like, this guy does not have the balls to walk up to
Little-
anyone looking like that.
Little
That's
Red Riding Hood.
I'm just not buying it.
yeah, yeah,
If there were like 3 Gatesmen, like that'd have been a little different.
exactly. No, I agree. And then, but next
Resident
scene,
badass.
that Arya slips away, but she finds Greywood kenneled up.
Yeah,
As
so
she's about to go get him.
She starts heading over there and witnesses, basically the wolf being shot with quarreled up, if you will. And I don't know, like I don't think she could have any more confirmation that this is really bad than seeing specifically that. I mean, other than being in the hall, seeing what's fucking going down in there. In the clothes.
So while I was watching, it was kind of weird because I was just watching this on my computer and I didn't see anybody or hear anybody. But I remember saying, like, go get the wolves. And it was like, no, just hide. It felt like that intense. Like, go get them because they're going to kill them. And then you see, like, the swarm. And I'm like, no, Arya, please just hide. Please. Like, I'm really happy that she ended up not dead to our knowledge at this point, I guess you could say. Because we don't really know. But to our knowledge, she's in the Hound's hands. Yeah. I also... The second time through when I was watching today, I kept watching to hear if you could hear Rains of Castamere as they were approaching, like in the cart. Mm-hmm. You couldn't, because I do think, like, if you could have just slightly heard that, like if she could have just slightly picked that up, with everything she's been through, she would have known immediately shit is wrong.
Well, they stopped playing it right before they stabbed Lisa. Like Walter called for the music to stop and everything. So. Yeah, but no, exactly. If she would have heard that, she would have probably.
And right before all this happens, Blackfish has to go pee.
Luckiest piss in the world.
Yeah, I think that was my note, but no big deal.
Oh, sorry, Glenn.
oh shit! I didn't.
I'm just waiting for that one, but yeah,
go ahead,
I guess I'll just sit in the corner.
read your notes.
So,
hold on, let's do a clap. Luke, edit this out. Glenn, what are your thoughts?
Hey, Glenn.
So he basically, the Blackfish and Cat are talking, and Cat's just like, the whole time, the whole ride up here, he was pissing and moaning about, this whole wedding bullshit, and now like he finds his hot wife or whatever now, and then now he just can't get enough of her or whatever, and then the Blackfish, his response is, the gods love to reward a fool, like. He's my nephew. I love him, I guess, but he is still a fool. So, then he just, I got to take a leak, so I'll be back. But I think in the books he's not even there though.
Who? Blackfish?
Blackfish.
He was at the
he's
wedding.
There.
He
it's almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean, that actually.
No. He's in. He stayed back at River Run.
There's.
Oh, he's okay.
There's other Northmen that are there. That are
maybe
not.
It's the Umbers.
The Umbers are there, yeah.
Maybe
Great John.
Great John. I know there was one that was. I don't want to get into it, but there was one phrase supposed to get him drunk. Had to outdrink him, and Great John outdrank like 3 of them.
Right.
Drink 3 of them onto the table. But yeah, okay. That might be who I'm thinking of.
I think in the books, Roos is the one that goes and takes the piss. And then he comes back with his chainmail.
He's all chainmailed. Chainmail.
Chat, figure it out for us. Tell us who's right, who's wrong.
I'm gonna go with Glenn.
I'm sure Glenn's right about Blackfish not being there, but who went to take a piss?
I better go turn my light on. It's getting dark over here.
Yeah. So, all right. So we have Arya, finishing up with Arya 2. She gets knocked out by the Hound. Again, I like that they showed who knocked her out because before book-wise, it's like everything goes black. She feels a shot to her head, and she's like, oh, and just falls out like, oh, fuck, who got a hold of her? At least this way we know it's the Hound. He's going to do something to protect her. But, so we kind of already discussed, kind of ran through everything kind of in an ass-backwards way. Luke can edit this to make it all fit perfectly, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as your train of thought goes on, it just jumps. Like, this whole scene is just mind-blowing. Because, like you said, you even said, like, you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was coming, but there has been things throughout that makes me very leery of Walter Frey. I knew it was bad, and now we're all coming here acting like we're okay. My guard has been up, but to see this unfold, like to this extreme, I'm all over the place with it. Like, that's
Yeah.
like where do we go from here?
You'll have to wait till next week to find out.
Oh, stay tuned.
Yeah.
So anybody got anything else on the Red Wedding itself?
No, I mean, there's definitely some changes from the book, but I do think they've done a good job at...
The premise is the same.
Yeah, they get to all the same overall major points,
Yeah.
and I think the way it's shot is very well done, very dramatic, very cutting your heart into little tiny pieces. Like, what the... like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they close out the show with no music over the credits. You have Kat getting her throat slit and silence.
Right. Just drink it all in or whatever.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Suck on that. Just
Sit here in silence. Enjoy the
I
silence.
said the
look at the
same
credits
thing
and don't say
today.
anything.
Like, not usually, but sometimes we have music. Sometimes there's just different kinds of stuff. It's not always the same, which is fun and refreshing.
Yeah.
But here, that just like void of anything, because you're just sitting there.
You're sitting
Heavy
there,
silence,
shock and
isn't
awe,
it? Real
and-
heavy.
Yes.
And yeah, because the first time or second time watching through, first time, like I said, I was in shock and had to go get a couple shots. But the second time watching through, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this. And I think this is where they play the Reigns of Castamere again, and the closing credits, because it would make sense being the title of the episode.
Right.
They would play the song again, and no, it hits that dead silence, and you're like, oh damn, I didn't even notice it, because as soon as the credits started, I took my headphones off and fucking went to the bar. But the first time, second time watching it, was like, oh shit, damn, that's powerful.
Bleak.
Yeah.
Shit's bleak.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right. So, we are going to go to episode title accuracy, The Reigns of Castamere.
Yep.
Yeah, and played the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the title is definitely fitting because they play the Reigns of Castamere, but also, like, obviously you couldn't name it like the Red Wedding just to
Yeah. Well, and
spoil any potential spoilers.
then if you think back to
beforehand.
if you think back to last episode when Cersei, describes what the Reigns of Castamere story actually is, this is the second most powerful house in Westeros.
In the north.
Well, in all the Seven Kingdoms, they're the second most powerful. The Starks are the most powerful. Second most, they're not the wealthiest, but they're the second most powerful family behind the Lannisters. Depending on who's
Right now?
Yeah,
Sure.
at this moment.
Sure.
So they're being wiped out. Because the only one left, or only two left that the Lannisters, one that the Lannisters know about is Sansa. Everyone else is dead.
And
They
have
assume
their
Arya's
finger
dead,
on
and
her.
yeah, so it's wiped out. So the title in that aspect too is a bit fitting.
Yeah, and there's also, in the scenes that we have Jon and Tormund, it was raining like the whole time. So
True. Well, no,
and it's fitting because it's raining its
It's
ass off
raining
here
now.
while
Yes.
we're recording. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
how fitting can it get,
Rains,
folks? For the kids at home, it's raining.
It's raining and it rains.
So all right, we're going to description
it's bleak.
accuracy. House Freys join forces with the Tullys. Jon faces his most difficult test yet.
I guess they joined forces. I don't. It's kind of a weird way to say
Weird
that.
way of
And it's
saying
most
there was
I-
a wedding
honestly,
between a Tully and a Frey.
I would put
Join houses.
yeah,
I think that'd be a safer way of putting it. But
yeah,
Join
and then
forces.
like with Jon, I think having to take on fucking Corhan or
Corn half hand.
Corn Half Hand, yeah, having to take him on and killing him, I think that's a tougher challenge. Then, I mean, he's legitimately having to kill one of his sworn brothers,
Well, he's literally fighting like 4 or 5 different people right here too.
but he's done that before.
There were a
But
couple
this
seconds.
is
think-
easy. This is easy. He just goes along with the plan here. He lives, and Corn Halfhand's plan still lives. Everything is still intact. His test was, do you pick that easier route?
be
Corn
a-
Halfhand's
to
plan
be
is
a
still
wildling.
intact. You're still a wildling. Everything is still good to go, and you exit
A test
gracefully.
check.
Or do you test it here and say, I will not kill this man? That's just where I go with him being tested. Because Corrin basically said to him, you need to do this to me. Make them believe.
Mm-hmm. I think it's also a test of his heart. I think he has fallen for Ygritte too. It's
Oh,
not just
yeah.
me around here that fell for her. It's, I think he does care about her a lot. Not, and
I'll fight you for her.
We don't want to have that fight again. You don't want to have that fight again.
You're right.
But
You're right.
I think the test of his emotions there is a big part of it as well. So,
and that's fair. I'm just was kind of going with the
Right.
kind of same thing. Tested his emotions with Corin.
And really, like growing up, I think Ned instilled a lot of values in him, and like this is definitely going against a lot of that. So
family matters.
family matters.
Start
Urkel.
with Urkel,
With Urkel.
Carl.
Did
I think
do
there was a
that?
show about that. Yeah.
I had
Ringing
the
a
thought
bell.
that only me and Steve Urkel would have. Did I do that?
So, all right, we're gonna move on to our favorite and least favorite things. We will start with least favorite, Glenn.
So I guess they're not going to take Castaway Rock.
That plan was
Well,
thwarted.
there goes that. Yeah, I was looking
Foiled
forward to that.
again.
Abby, what was your least favorite thing?
My least favorite thing was that Tywin didn't stop the Red Wedding. No, I'm just kidding. That's just because I always wish Tywin would stop
The
everything.
dance.
Yeah. My least favorite thing. I mean, basically the last 15 minutes of the entire episode. It's kind of hard to have a least favorite. I don't like that the direwolf got killed. If he would have stayed alive, then maybe Rob would somehow spiritually. I think we had that conversation once, like be in the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
I think the direwolf being killed is my least favorite thing.
So this is like a least favorite thing by design. Like,
Yes,
you're
by
supposed
design,
to not like these.
Yeah.
Yes, not because this was like
It's not like I didn't
stupid or
enjoy this. It's,
throwaway.
this is shitty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if the direwolf could have stayed alive, I would have been cool.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Ab.
No, that's it. Just how Luke described it is how I mean it. Not least favorite thing. Like this was a throwaway scene or stupid that it happened or whatever.
Gotcha. Mine, actually, I really didn't have least favorite. I do like all of this episode is one of my favorite ones, not because of what happens, just the way it's done. But if I had to pick something, it's Dany fangirling over Dario, you know, kind of shoving aside Jorah and Grey Worm, and just that it annoys me.
I can get down with that, bench.
Where's Dario?
Yeah. So
My least favorite thing is just limitations of the show. It's just a game of consolidation. It's not even like I think they did a good job doing this. I want the unabridged video version of the books, but that's just not going to fucking happen.
Exactly.
Like so I know that, but I would love to see it.
yeah,
So that's my only.
Unless we get enough, Patreon.
And then we'll just
Then
we'll
do it.
We'll produce it. We'll put that as one of our goals.
yeah. What a $15,000 patron.
Well, we're going by numbers of patrons for our goals, so maybe like 50 million patrons.
We'll make a stick figure flip book of the whole thing.
I feel like that would be doable.
It's doable. Yeah. So all right, we're
We can
moving
put
on.
that
I
on
don't.
Abby's
No, I don't.
YouTube page.
Click on
No.
6 to
6
midnight.
to midnight.
All right, we're gonna move on to favorite things. I'm gonna start this one because it is kind of weird, but I'm going with the Red Wedding.
So no one else can like the Red Wedding.
Well, no, I mean everybody else can if you want to, but I'm going with not because Kat died, because I know that's what you fuckers probably thought. It was
Thank God that cunt's gone, is what Benji's saying.
It was well done. It was so well done. It was, more than what I had expected my first time through, and even this time through. It's more. It always, except for Friday night when I'm sitting here with these two assholes and we're watching it with no sound on, just laughing our asses off at Abby. Every time I watch it, there's still that kind of heart pang for one scene or another. It could be Talisa, it could be Grey One, could be Catelyn. Rob hasn't gotten the twang yet, but the major deaths that you see, it was well fucking done. So that's why I'm going with it. And
I'm gonna go Red Wedding as well. Honestly, I think it's just really well done. Sorry, Abby.
You're good. I have a question to throw to you after you're finished, Luke.
Okay. I think they
hurry
do
up.
a good job with it, even though this is kind of tied with my least favorite thing. It's just the limitations of the show. What they do with it, I think, works for the narrative that they're telling, which is slightly different, and that's fine. We're definitely getting to points where you can't tell every extrapolated story that's within this novel or series of novels. So to keep it functional as a TV series, I think they make good choices at this point on several things. And I think they do a good job with this.
So my question to you, Luke, is I don't know if
So you'll just drink.
No,
That's
you're
it.
right. I will. I want to really hard grill good old Sly McLean over there about what his issue is with Cat.
A lot of people
I
have a lot of
fun-
issues with Cat.
I fundamentally, and maybe it's because I'm not a book reader. I don't know if this needs to go somewhere else because I don't know if it's going to like extend. But just first time watching through, this is the end of her, at least as I know for this point. I have a very hard time with like, why are we so angry with her? I don't understand because to me, she has been a devoted mother, a devoted wife, like badass beyond belief. And there's so many hostilities that I don't understand.
Okay, he's back. You have to stop talking about him now.
Got it. Okay. So I don't know if we need to do a Sly versus Gertie questions and answers.
Debate.
Okay.
Debate? Yeah, I
That's
think we
how
could
you
do a
debate.
debate. Hillary versus Donald. That's fine. I'll wear a pantsuit. It's fine.
I'll get a spray tan.
Perfect. So, yeah, I just like, to me, I always thought like we would go on season 5, 6, 7, and there would be something that I'd be like, oh, yeah, you're right. That
bitch.
nasty bitch. Yes. It just never came.
Okay.
So,
And that's fair. It's more of, I don't know what it is. My annoyance you're talking about my cat, you know.
yeah,
anger,
like
or
well,
not
and Luke
anger,
said
just
there's-
I hate cats.
multiple people who
fucking
feel that
hate
way. Like
cats.
they have this hostility towards her, and I
We're talking cat litter.
said I
Yeah.
just don't understand where it comes from.
a few
because
things. Like I'll do a quick run through. First is she's the one that told Ned you have to go to King's Landing. And, hang on, I know, out of honor.
I'll walk out of there
And I'm
do my
gonna
eye
see. This is why I
rolling.
said this might need to go somewhere else
I'll
because
walk out
I'm
of
not.
I know.
This is a discussion for another day.
It is, but
Let's-
but
right.
basically
Two more points.
This time through, as you've noticed, Ab, I have softened a lot from season 1 to now on Cat and all that. I comparatively,
on Cat and that.
she
With
doesn't
Ben.
annoy because I. On this watch through, I've also been doing the read throughs a lot, and I've been focusing a lot on her chapters and the chapters that annoyed me when I was first reading them and everything like that. So I'm a little less angry or less, whatever at her this time through. My first time through, I found her boring because I wanted Rob's perspective. I wanted that. I wanted, Catelyn is, yeah, fine. It's the mother character that just was like, come on, you're fucking boring and you're giving bad advice for different shit. Taking Tyrion and all that bad advice on different
She
things.
hates Jon Snow.
So it's
Yeah.
so it's the initial from the first book annoyance that carried through to here that I had the problem with. But again, on this time through, I'm rewatching and taking my time with it, and so I'm giving her more room.
That's probably fair too, because I think as just a mom in general, I'm always going to take that slant automatically. I'm always going to take that point of view, and I don't know. I just wonder, like, and like Luke said, you're not the only person who has issues with her. To me, I'm
we'll
like,
have a
dude,
lot to talk
she
about.
died a hero.
Once we go through the books, it's after season
Perfect.
8, we'll do that. So we'll
right, let's
reevaluate
continue
and
on.
re-debate then.
Sorry.
No, we're moving along.
All right. So Glenn, did you get to give your favorite thing?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
My favorite thing is, this is just another watershed moment, I guess, where it's like not all of these storylines are going to be happy, and kind of makes the show unpredictable. You're going to have to keep your head on a swivel. It's just not. Sometimes it's just not. It's going to knock you down a peg as a viewer, and that's something that I like. It's just not like a predictable storyline where the good guys win and the bad guys lose.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that have like plot armor or whatever, but not everybody. And some of the main characters don't.
Mhm.
You're gonna lose big good characters. You're gonna lose big bad characters. It's just you don't know, and
That's real life.
what
Yeah,
makes
it makes
it,
it more-
a
more
good
real-
story.
realistic.
It's realistic. It's exciting.
Exactly. Abby, did you get to give your favorite?
No, I'm gonna take it down a peg here. So my very favorite thing that happens in this entire episode is when Hound says to Arya, "They're still there," and she says, "I know they're still there," and he looks at her and he's like, "You check every 5 minutes." It's like such a again, Maisie with her acting beyond her years.
Yeah.
I think just going toe to toe with these great actors. They're like a married couple. Like they're just like this, like nagging, like back and forth, and they do it multiple times within their scenes together. But that one to me is so funny. The next one that was a close second was when she does tell him about they're not going to believe you're a pig farmer if you eat all of them, and he rattles the pig foot at her like it's the best part. Like, what are you going to do about it? They're funny. So that was that was the best part of the whole show.
Nice.
The rest of it, not so great.
Overall, pretty damn good episode.
Yeah,
I thought.
Pretty damn terrible.
Yeah.
Pretty well done episode.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Top
Fantastically done.
5. Well done. Definitely up to this point, top 3.
It's easily in the top 67
I would
episodes.
top
Easy.
30. Top 30.
Top
right now.
67
At this
or
point,
29.
this
Without a
is
fucking
the
doubt.
best episode
Definitely
I
top
have seen.
67.
Okay. See there. Thank you, Ab.
And I would say, like, Ned being best is not the word I want, but like most striking or most
impactful.
Ned, the Ned heading, maybe heading.
Yeah.
That would be like number 2, like that type of holy shitness on the list. This one tops it because the Ned stuff I saw coming more.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I not saw coming, but I was like, it's a little hairy going in there. I'm a little on guard. But to have the on guard. And hey, for real, what question right here? Where's Serial Pharrell? And where's Benjen? Who knows?
These are the questions.
We don't.
But
These are the questions of our
Yeah,
lives.
I feel like Rich Shatwell called this out. It was either on Twitter or in the chat while you were doing your live reaction video on Friday.
Yes.
But you are officially, I think we can claim it, officially no longer a sweet summer child.
No.
You've made it through the red wedding.
Yeah.
And if you want to continue
You're now
on,
an autumn babe.
then
Hey,
then
I like autumn.
then I think you're in the club now.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause this is a
So-
big one. This
yeah,
is definitely.
if you make it through Ned, if you make it through Baylor and Reigns of Castamere, you're in. I mean, there's not much else to it. So
It definitely was a big one.
So all right, Iris jumped the promo thing. So we're gonna go to our first time watch on the wall prediction. Abby made some predictions on Friday night. We're gonna stick with the same ones, Ab. Correct?
Yeah, I'm sticking completely.
All right.
Ready?
So whenever you're ready.
All right. It's a little dark in my room, sorry.
Red Wedding Survivor.
Nice, Iron John.
You know what? Let me write that down real quick. I'll just make myself a T-shirt that says that.
Yeah.
Hashtag Red Wedding Survivor.
Hashtag.
I
And then,
survived the red
see,
wedding.
those are...
And all I got was
Gives
the
us a
shitty T-shirt.
It should have like red marks, like stab wounds.
Quarrels coming through the
There you
bag. Holes in the bag.
That's really funny.
Proceed.
A wolf's head.
25% cut goes to Iron Throne.
If you would also like a Red Wedding Survivor T-shirt, let us know. I'll make you one. So number 1, prediction number 1. I believe that... Okay, here we go. Bran, Mira, Jojen, Hodor, they are going north. And Sam and Gilly are going south. And at some point, they cross paths. Prediction number 1. Prediction number 2. I believe that Osha and Rickon...
I believe.
Exactly. I believe that they're gone for a while. Like, I think they're okay, but I just don't think we know about them for a long time. Long time. That's it. Number 3, Edmure. I think he's going to become... I asked if, like, he wasn't killed, he was outside. We don't really know, because he was out of the doors before they were locked. I think he ends up becoming a sperm hostage. And going with that there, if Rosalind produces an heir, then that heir is Lord of Riverrun, giving them, or say the Lannisters, control of Riverrun, which is good stuff for them. Number 4, John. This one's vague, but I do believe I remember what I was talking about. We have the Paul Revere ride. I believe he rides up to the Castle Black and informs everybody who will hear near and far of his tales of what's coming from the ride of Jon Snow. I wish I came up with a better rhyme. I can't. But who's the real guy who did the ride? Benj, I know you're dying to tell me.
No, I mean
Ishmael Valhamid.
Israel Bissell.
Ishmael
Valhamid.
You're looking for a super inside joke there. You're
Yes,
Nice. Yeah.
sorry.
That took me. I'm like, I know that. Well, yeah.
I like to
gotta
go
think
with
of one.
Six Flags with Ishmael. But anyways,
Israel Bissell. But
Israel Vissel.
I was just
Yes.
trying to think of a quick rhyme. But
I know.
you have to go hard and to the low for the fateful ride of one Jon Snow. I don't know.
Yeah. So
not
the
the worst
only
thing I've
other
ever heard.
question I have, if I could have a question real quick.
Let's add a question from the first time. Watch
Sorry.
On the wall.
So like you had all mentioned before, at this point, King's Landing, the powers that be believe that Sansa is the only Stark alive. Because we don't know about Bran and Rickon,
Yeah.
we don't know about Arya, and I'm going to assume that at some point they're going to be informed about the Red Wedding, right? Does that
Probably.
leave Sansa as the heir to Winterfell?
Yes.
Okay, so in their minds, not saying that she technically is, but in their minds
In the
right
collective
now,
royal we mind. shit.
yes,
Yeah.
Sansa is the rightful heir, making Tyrion Lord of Winterfell at this point.
Correct.
That's nuts. That's all. I just wanted to clarify my thinking that that's how we're gonna roll through this.
And you have now been clarified.
Crystal fucking clear.
So, as we do every episode, we're going to go through our house names and sigils and such. I am Sly of House McLean. My house words are, it's dangerous to go alone. The sigil I have is 3 gold triangles and a field of red and black. And, oh yes, it's dangerous to drink alone. Sorry. 3 gold triangles on a field of red and black, just saw Luke's edit there. And we read, our hometown newspaper is the Daily Sun. If anybody gets that and you notice it's gaming stuff, you put it in the chat, I'd be impressed. Glenn, what's your house name?
Glenn of House Dog.
Your words?
You miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
What's your sigil?
Spuds McKenzie on a Wayne Gretzky jersey, number 99.
And what newspaper do you guys read?
We subscribe to the Moon Door Bee.
All right. Gertie, Abby, what's your house name?
I am Gertie of House Condescension.
What are your words?
We don't quit.
What's your sigil?
It's a field of white with a raven sitting upon a black, up-pointed chevron.
And what's your paper?
We get our news from the Nightly Raven.
Excellent. Luke,
All right. I am Lucan of House Blackmaid.
what are your words?
Ours is the drink.
Your sigil?
An obsidian black chalice on a gold and blue checky background.
And what do you read?
Oh, we read a nightly paper called The Drowned Word.
Excellent. And yes, Rich, you are correct. All right, thank you. I appreciate somebody finally got it. All right, so join us very shortly, especially in the YouTube chat, for our epilogue episode where we're going to take about a 5-minute break to make some water and come back, grab a couple beers. And we're going to be talking about the guest right. The salt and bread, the guest right.
So that'll be spoiler filled. We're
Yeah.
going to kick Abby out. Go and get.
And it's not even allowed on YouTube.
Here.
So, can't even log into YouTube. Fuck it. Can't even go watch your cooking videos and shit.
I tried to watch like the comments from the watch video. I couldn't even get them. And then I tried to log into YouTube to get the chat, whatever your guys are looking at. I don't even know how. So you're pretty much in the clear of me trying to
this is
figure
how
it out.
she's so good at not giving spoilers. She doesn't technology.
Yes,
I don't computer.
I
I'm
don't
pretty
compute.
bad. I try so hard and I just suck. I don't know.
And we don't want to teach her. We don't want to have her get any better because that makes this a lot more difficult.
Oh, I suck.
Or it makes
God,
it
I'm
easier
such
for
an
us that we
idiot.
don't.
Right. If she knew, it'd be a lot tougher.
Yeah. So, all right. So, follow us on Twitter at knowing.Drink. Send us a digital raven at knowing.Drink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave us comments on iTunes and YouTube. And make sure to check out our brand new Patreon page.
Patreon.com/stayimaginary.
Thank you. And anything you can do to support us, we'd appreciate. That way we can keep putting this stuff out for you. So, until next time,
We keep putting out.
putting out for you. Yep. Until next time.
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
And as always, don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
As always, winter is coming, and so am I.
And as always, please stay imaginary. Glenn with the voiceover is always great.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
I literally have a
Send me
very
some
quick
sauce.
question.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's only to Glenn, nobody else talk. What is the significance of the moon door bee?
What do you mean?
Anything? I mean, I don't get it at all, which pretty
the
much.
moon door? Because I'm from the Vale.
Remember,
The
the
moon
Eagle
door is
wants to make people fly through that door is called the moon door.
It's like a trap door that, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and since he's in the veil, he's in the veil.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
And then the bee
Okay.
is just like a newspaper name.
Got you. Then
The
I
bee.
get it now. Yep.
Subscribe to the bee.
Perfect. Okay, I'm out. I'm gonna go sponsor a whole bunch of Patreons now.
There you go, and get to work on all those stickers. But yeah, if you guys do want stickers, send us an email. It's probably
Yeah.
the best way. Send us your address, and we will get you guys stickers. We have
And
several
put in
here.
there that you want the freaking Raven one because that's way cooler. I don't think I've
Yeah,
won anything yet.
But yeah, I don't know. I can't think of.
What's the significance of the raven?
Yeah, come on, Abby. What's the
What's the
significance of Gertie's gallows?
I just don't
I
get
think
that at
it's
all.
I don't think I am nearly as elusive or smart as Glenn's mind. I'm pretty much a simple motherfucker. So we got
simpleton.
Raven. Yes, there you go.
Hodor.
Yeah, exactly. Abby, Gertie. That's it. Exactly.
Stop your girding.
So, I will see you all later. Text me or whatever. Message me when you guys are done.
Okay, thanks.
See ya, bye.
We'll see you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, so yes, chat, we will be putting on some music by the Unedited Method for a couple minutes, and we'll be back soon. We're going to talk about guest right. I don't know if any of us are smart enough to really get into the weeds about it, but we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we got a couple stories to tell.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, personal, vendettas.
Me
So go ahead and fill up that chat with some interesting thoughts you guys have, and we will be back shortly. We love you.
aren't in your car.
Yeah. Because I've had places to go afterwards.
Yeah, just I would let Matt know that because if you put in the time because you clocked in and stuff.
No, there wasn't any ticket. I have to.
But did you clock? Did you like actually?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't. You're not gonna get paid. I mean, did you just pay live? Oh, all right.
No, I mean I forgot to do that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
All
sorry.
right.
Sorry, talking.
Roll
work
that
stuff.
beautiful bean.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
Hello and welcome to the podcast that knows things epilogue
And
episode.
drinks things, apparently.
And drinks things.
Knows and drinks things. Yeah, sorry. Too late. Not really, but the podcast that drinks and knows things. I'm Ben. I'm with Luke and Glenn. We're in our epilogue, spoiler-free or spoiler-abound episode. Anything's allowed. We are talking about guest right. We just talked yesterday, for the podcast listeners, about the Red Wedding and everything, so felt it was a right conversation to have now about what the guest right means, what it is, and what the fuck just happened. So, Luke, take it away.
Sure. So guest right, obviously, if you're brought in as a guest to someone's house, you feel like it's pretty reasonable to think, oh, they're not going to kill me because I have come into their house. It's a protection that, hey, you are within...
You are a guest.
Our guestmanship.
The guest of honor.
You are the guest of honor. And we're not going to invite you inside and slit your throats. That's kind of the real basis of it.
Come
and
on in, guess.
we're going to share our food with you. And
Fruits.
we're going to share our fruits with you as well, if you have any, lemon trees and all that, which is a big debate. But we'll get there. The podcast that knows, drinks, and drinks things again. Iatron. Very, very well said. And so the guest right, I kind of referenced it in our episode that we just did. Walder Frey calls out, I'm basically doing this. I'm offering you guys hospitality and protection in, the sight of the Seven. And I just think it's funny that he's like being as blunt about this as I know this is a really treacherous act.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We're going to keep flying in the face of danger and evil anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I get the feeling that Walder doesn't attune much to the gods. He's like, I have fucking how many kids and how many grandkids. I have my legacy. I have my family in order, but I've been shunned by everybody. So the gods really might not.
Well, if he was a decent fucking guy ever, he wouldn't be fucking shunned.
Agreed.
The late Walder Frey?
Agreed. Oh, no, I'm not. No disagreement here.
In his
mind.
Sure.
He does.
He's
what,
just a piece of shit.
He is. Yeah. He's done what he's supposed to do. He's upped his family, but he still gets shunned. And so this is a way to protect himself. He's got the Tywin stamp of approval. He's set. He's fucking set. And he has River Run.
He has the Roose stamp of approval. There are no fingerprints from Tywin on this. He was so...
Bullshit.
No. So Tywin did everything he could to make sure that it couldn't be tracked back to him. He spoke directly to Roose. So he's always a step beyond. Like he's got buffer zones.
When was it said that? Because I know
Tywin doesn't even actually admit to being involved to Tyrion.
Yeah. But I mean, okay. I guess I'm.
My point being,
I guess I'm going
has,
from Tyrion's perspective of
like
it's
he knows,
fucking
like he knows.
Yeah.
But there's no
There-
actual line to say, yeah, Tywin's the one that really called this shot. No, it's Roose Bolton working with Walder Frey is really like on paper what you could find. I think.
Fair enough. So looking over to the chat, see if there's stuff. Living My Rhapsody says there was a tradition like that where I come from. People used to house baked bread and salt. Okay, I'm just reading like.
Well, she lives in Westeros.
Okay,
I mean, that's what DAs say.
fair enough.
Yeah.
And
So you basically got to,
So
as the guest, you got to eat the foods and
yeah,
basically be a guest.
so
right?
the fallout from the Red Wedding is huge. Obviously, like there's a big army that's essentially not in the field anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we're talking only about guest right, I think we have to start jumping pretty far ahead in the story to other instances where this is kind of brought into question, or people are deliberately going against that.
Violations,
If you will.
I got them pulled up if you want.
You got them pulled up?
Yeah.
The two that I was thinking of are one's show-based and one's book-based. The first one, show-based, is Season 7, Episode 1, Arya Stark acting as Walder Frey. It's a little different because she's playing a part.
The host.
She's playing the host, and it's a little different on that, but I feel like it still kind of applies. And then there's also, in the books, there is Frey pies.
Yeah. Yeah, now the Frey prize,
It's somewhat consolidated.
but
in
he
the
didn't.
show.
But here's the thing: Walter Manley didn't actually violate guest rights.
Wyman.
Wyman Manley, fine. He didn't violate guest rights because he'd already given them the parting gift and sent them on their way. His oath or his agreement to the rights was done by that point. Then they were killed. Then they were caught en route to Winterfell, killed, and baked into pies. So Manley didn't violate guest rights. You know, he makes a joke about the Rat King. And
The Rat King is the
The rat
historical.
cook.
yeah. Or the
Rat Cook, yeah.
Cook,
Yeah,
sorry.
that's the first one that they mention as a violation.
Can you read a little bit about the Rat Cook just for the kids at
The
home?
Rat Cook, a legendary figure who allegedly lived centuries ago, who killed the son of the king while they were guests at the Night Fort. He
Night
then
Fort
baked
again. Yep.
baked the flesh of the king's son into a meat pie and served it back to his own father, who unwittingly enjoyed it so much that he asked for a second piece.
Let's play two.
The gods were not offended by the murder, nor even by the cooking of the son into the pie, but for violating the protection of guest right,
Yep.
as the laws of hospitality are sacred above all others.
Yeah. Now I'm wondering, in book-wise, just timeline, because we learned this story when Bran's at the Night Fort with Mira and Jojen.
Right.
Does this actually happen before the Red Wedding, or does it happen right after? Like
For book chronology,
book chronology. That's what I'm trying to
do we hear this story before the Red Wedding? I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think it's one of those.
like right after.
I don't know. It may have been before. No, I think it's after.
Okay.
I think because the Red Wedding is. I'm just thinking I'm kind of in that spot of
Yeah.
of the book, and I don't think Bran has gone through the wall yet where I'm at.
Okay.
So I feel like it's after, but I'm okay with being wrong if that's true. So what's another instance of breaking guest right?
Do you want me to just read one of them, or just
Sure.
run through them?
Run through them, and then we'll see if
Whichever ones stick.
Yeah.
It's like, although few are aware of what really happened, Jaime Lannister violated a guest right when he attempted to kill Bran Stark.
Yeah.
By pushing him off the tower.
I think that one's maybe a little bit debatable, but
And then Catelyn Stark.
I think so.
I guess it'd be a violation when she accuses Tyrion. Basically, whoever the assassin was, that'd be a violation as well, is how they put it.
In the Crossroads?
No, the person who attempted the Bran's life
'Cause
violated the guest
Tyrion was a
rights.
guest at their house whenever the king came.
So per Catelyn's
For
perspective, Tyrion is the one that violated guest rights.
Gotcha.
by-
Okay. Yeah.
She believes that he violated the guest right.
Okay. Yep.
And that's just kind of like a side one, because very few realize that Jaime Lannister was the one that violated the guest right.
And very few realize that he did send his regards
Right.
in the show, but did not in the books.
Yes.
All right, next one, the mutiny at Craster's Keep,
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
the Red Wedding. I think we've talked about that before.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I don't know anything about the Red Wedding. though.
The Hound beats up the farmer who let him and Arya Stark stay in his house.
Mm-hmm.
Takes his money. The Hound had earlier remarked that guest right don't mean much anymore.
Yeah. So it's the twins.
Lud Whitehill breaks guest right when, after inviting Lord Roderick Forrester, Lady Eliza Forrester, and either Duncan Tuttle or Sir Royland
This is
Decor.
this is from
To
the
High
game.
Point.
This is the Telltale game.
Oh,
That's exactly what it is.
discuss-
I was like Royland, the Foresters.
Yeah,
Whitehill?
I was like, this is deep. I'm like, this
House
doesn't
Forester?
sound, this sounds somewhat familiar because we did one playthrough of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Basically,
I wouldn't mind doing a live stream
That'd be
playthrough
fun.
of that. That'd
Yeah.
be fun.
They
With all four
discuss-
of us trying to make decisions.
Yeah.
they discuss the
You get
release
first, second, third.
of
Yeah.
Ryan Forster and offering them bread and salt,
So we know that there's basically no way
Blood
around this
wounds
in the story
Ryan
now.
and threatens to
canon.
have Roderick and his guests killed, with his soldiers ready to kill them with crossbows at any second.
That
And-
game does do a good job. That is
Yeah.
pretty well fit into the
I
story.
want to see one character. Like, I forget the end, so I want to see one live character pop up in like season 8. Just a random, just whoever from the game, from that family. Just, I'm here. Oh, it's that guy.
Yeah.
And basically, the next one is the Telltale game series, where they kind of go through like the decisions of Asher Forrester and like all that. So I'm not gonna dive deep into that. It's just like the Telltale game.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, when Jon Snow comes to treat with King Beyond the Wall Mance Rayder during the Battle of Castle Black, Mance shares food and drink with him, and they even toast those on both sides who have fell in the heavy fighting the night before. Mance then sees Jon eyeing a cooking knife and quickly deduces that Jon's real reason for coming was to assassinate Mance.
Yeah, but he didn't violate.
It was definitely like he called him out, like, don't
Yeah.
fucking do it. And he caught him in the thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, fair.
As Glenn would say, yeah.
What's next?
The last one they have here is Ilaria Sand and the Sand Snakes murder Marcella Baratheon as revenge for the death of Oberyn Martell, even though Marcella was an innocent girl who had nothing to do with Oberyn's fate. It was revenge against her mother, Cersei Lannister, and was living in Dorne under the protection of Prince Doran Martell as his ward.
In fairness to the defense of that, she was already sent on her way with her uncle father.
So no longer under
No
guest
longer
right.
under guest right when she died. Now,
I
granted,
think I could agree with that.
it's a touchy one because she was kissed and sent on her way, and that's what ended up killing her.
She had nothing to do with...
No, she didn't. I mean, it's a dick move.
Right.
Dick move.
Dick move.
dick
Come on,
move, right.
Ilaria.
But is it violation of guest rights?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with
debatable.
that one,
That's debatable. So, all right. So, do we want to? Because the only other really real instance we have is from Bookwise and well, show. I mean, we just ran through them. I was gonna say the Walder the Manderly, not Walder, Wyman, Manderly thing. That's kind of the most known one, at least the one that I'm most familiar with. And like I said, guest right of it. For it was he didn't really kill him under guest right. He made sure to send him on their way, so guest right wasn't any longer. Whose is a more ethical and right way to do it? I would say the phrase or the Manderlys. I mean, which one? If you given the choice, would you sit and suffer the phrase like Manderly did, or would you just fucking
So
ham it like Frey did?
You're picking a full family slaughter or forceful cannibalism.
I'm saying take 3. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's the trade-off.
Yeah.
I don't want to choose. I don't really think either are anywhere close to being moral or ethical.
What's the question?
So who did it right or the least unethical way? Walder Frey murdering the Starks at the Red Wedding under guest right, or Manderly giving guest right all the way through, sending them on their way, and then murdering them and baking them into pies.
So which one's worse, you're saying? Or?
Which one would you be more apt to do? I guess this is where I'm going with.
Probably the Manderly when they're outside of guest right, I guess.
But the reason I said because think about it with Manderly, basically he had to start the phrase calling him out, saying, "Oh yeah, your son, he was a traitor and all this, and had to suffer through all their insults, all their pain, or all their bullshit, and then take your revenge, or just Walder Frey style of they're bowing their knee, they're saying sorry, but fuck you, you did me wrong. But they're both they're both insulting, both being dicks to you. I don't know. The Walter Frey way, it's like, it's fucked, but it's more efficient. It's...
I mean, you don't have to hire a cook, necessarily.
A butcher.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But, I mean, the mannerly way is not a bad, it's more ethical.
No, they're definitely both pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's not a bad... it's a bad choice either way.
It's just like the one's not technically in violation of guest right, and the other one is.
I think I would frown on cannibalism more so than, because you're still murdering people either way. The cannibalism, I think, is what takes it to another level, because there are no gods.
Yeah, this is true.
So it's like when
there's only one true God, and that God is death.
When Cartman from
Tits
South Park, they had the chili cook-off, and he
the
killed
chili
Scott-
con carnival.
Chili con carnival.
The trivia team of Tits and Wine. That's what Glenn and I were at the
nice.
with Mackenzie Cohen, Mac on I forget what her actual Twitter handle is, but she joined our team at 10 for 10 in the TV round. But we didn't put any points on the questions, so we didn't get any credit.
Oh.
But we checked with the guy the next day. We were like, who won? And he was like, there was one team that got a perfect score. And he said a team name, and it was like, that wasn't our team name. I'm pretty sure we got them all right. And so he was like going through them, like just quickly like flipping through the list of questions, and we were like on the spot answering them again. He's like, there was one team that did pretty well, but didn't do the scoring correctly.
Right.
So we got 0 points, but a perfect paper.
I don't think we understood the way to do. Like, you had to pick your own points.
After the first 2 rounds of all book stuff, that was pretty rough.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, though.
The
a lot
book
of
stuff
fun.
was pretty tough.
That was pretty tough.
So, all right, I'm going to throw open the chat for about 1 minute here. Any thoughts on guest right? I know we've kind of tried to type or check in with you guys. Give us an idea of anything else we missed, what you want to talk about. If not, we will end the stream here, I think, unless anybody else has anything.
Yeah, the only other thing, there's just on this page that I'm looking at, there's just a lot. It goes through like the violations from the book, but then it just has like kind of examples in real life, and there's like stuff from like Greek mythology and the Bible, and
there was a Scottish king.
The Scottish what, Black Wedding, I
Yeah.
think is a lot of where Gurm has pulled this specifically from. But yeah, I mean it's definitely a historically precedented type event, and it's just rough.
Exactly. So, nothing coming up in the chat. I think we're past my delay here. So, right then and there, Rose and Littlefinger. I'm trying to figure out what...
Roz and Littlefinger?
Roz and Littlefinger. Does that fall under guest
Rose.
right?
That she got killed by Joffrey?
Yeah. Under his protection. That's a tough one, because it's more of a, you're in the house.
Whores.
You're working...
that's just another bag of worms for whores, because...
Yeah.
Unless you're a funny har.
Funny. All right. So, going to end it here. Make sure you join us next week for our Season 10 Spectacular, or Season 3
Season 10. We're
Season
starting in Season 10, folks.
What
Episode
I mean,
10.
We have the pilots for Season 10.
Episode 10 Spectacular. There we go. We'll be covering everything from beginning to end of the season, plus the show recap. So join us again on iTunes, on Twitter, on YouTube. We're going to live stream this. This is a lot of fun, so make sure you tune into our YouTube page. But make sure to check our Twitter, because we could give you a time, but
We're not
probably
going to
be
get it
wrong.
We're not going to hit it.
So
Yeah,
just keep an eye on Twitter.
Subscribe on YouTube so that you'll get the notification when we go live, and I'll try to continue to update on Twitter as we get closer and closer, and keep pushing it back as needed.
Exactly. So until next time,
Don't turn your back on the Wolfpack.
as always, winter is coming, and so am I.
And as always, please stay the fuck imaginary.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
All right, thanks,
Yeah.
thanks, chat, for hanging out with us. We really
Thank you, guys.
appreciate it. I'm glad the power stayed on here. Looks like it's still going at least. Yeah, shout out to everyone in the chat. We really appreciate you guys interacting with us, and it's been a lot of fun. Anything else?
No, I think are we gonna try to shoot for Sunday, or we might do. Well,
Let's not put a date or a number on it. We'll
That's
have
fine.
to figure out real life.
yeah, no, that's fair. So
We're,
awesome.
we're trying to get more consistent.
We are, but we're not going to be. So
We've been trying for
almost a year.
4 seasons now, with
Yeah.
season 7 and then the first 3 seasons now.
Yeah. But I just did find out this is just gonna be for the chat people and people watching this on YouTube.
Yeah.
Our Jeopardy game.
Yeah, apparently Abby's husband Joe
Yeah.
is planning a Jeopardy round for all 4 of us for
Yeah.
seasons 1 through 3 after episode 10, which it sounds like they're going to be in town soon.
Yeah.
So it'll be really cool to have all, I guess, 5 of us in studio here. It's a very tight studio.
Yeah.
But
Well, Abby can fit in the closet.
there we go. Put Abby in the closet, as you do.
Exactly.
You know,
It needs to be
and
done.
so if you guys have any, talk to. Let me pull up his Twitter handle. But he put a tweet out earlier. He added us, and send him. I would say direct message him.
Yeah.
With questions, categories.
Keep it 1 through 3 seasons. You know.
Yeah. I'm pulling it up right now.
Because here's the thing. I glanced over the tweet and the Facebook thing that he put, and I was like, I thought he was asking us for trivia questions for people, and so I'd private messaged him saying, "Hey, you could ask about this." He's like, "You're not supposed to know the questions." I'm like, "Oh, I misread it." Oh, and I went back. I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's gonna be fun."
So he is at Joe_Souders, and I am going to retweet this right now and try to basically add as many people in this chat that I know what their Twitter handles are as I can.
Yeah.
And I will do that offline. So you guys will mostly have that here shortly. But
And reshare that, give it out. We want to blow him up with as many questions.
make him sift through the. Just give him so many fucking questions that he'll regret asking the question.
Yeah.
Again, big shout out and thank you to Terrence from Hogwarts Radio and Bailey. First 2 Patreons,
Yes.
patrons, the first Legionaries
Legionnaires.
in the Imaginary Legion, and we seriously cannot thank you guys enough.
Yeah, that was super awesome seeing that today. So, all right, folks. We out. Peace, one love. We love y'all. Glenn showing Luke something really quick.
Oh, Blues are
Oh.
making some
The Blues.
moves.
Yeah,
Hopefully
they
can
just
be
signed.
good.
Yeah, they just signed someone today.
There was a couple of big
They
moves.
sound-
Yeah.
they're making some moves.
The chat doesn't care.
Yeah, Chet doesn't
Chet
care.
doesn't.
So,
Chat
They're
don't
not-
care.
They're not
all right,
fans.
folks. We love you. Good night.
And that's
Drink
okay.
safe.
And that's okay.
Have fun.
Are you wanting to read this?
Go ahead and read it for the chat, and I'll turn your microphone off.
Okay, so
Do you want to keep reading it?
a
Okay.
person with direct knowledge of the trade. Basically, the Blues got Ryan O'Reilly from the Sabres.
Nope.
So probably Riley's favorite player now. The Associated Press, the Buffalo Sabres
That's the Sabre dance.
2 draft picks, including 2019 first rounder, and 3 players in the deal. Center Ryan O'Reilly to the St. Louis Blues. Buffalo also acquires veteran centers Vladimir Sobotka and Patrick Berglund. And
It's a
center,
big trade for
center
us.
Tage Thompson.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Goodbye, chat. We love you.
Oh.
And we're
I
back
saw
for like
some-
2 seconds. LeBron to the Lakers. That's all.
Bye.